So I thought I'd continue with some photos of our trip. This is my normal Saturday morning gang, Larissa, Frank, and Nico. And this is where I ended last time. This is what the hotel room looks like in our ryokan. We're staying in the ryokans here. I can figure out a way to get this thing to be full screen.
Is it a foam mattress, Charlie?
No, it might have a foam pad, but it's not primarily foam.
Mm.
This is the view out the window of the ocean looking north. This was breakfast. This fascinated me. This is very Japanese. This is an automatic gohan or a sticky rice dispenser. So you pick up, this is a typical rice bowl. You pick it up, put it under here and push the button as to how much rice you want, and it plops the rice in. This and typical in Japan, everything is about tons of small tastes. If you go to even a buffet in a shopping center, this is what it looks like. Lots of little things. There's like 3 tables of this, and this was my plate. This is one of my favorite fish. This is the belly of hamachi.
Mm.
This is a fish egg. This is a fish egg. This is shoyu soy sauce, and there's some wasabi.
Is hamachi yellowtail?
Hmm?
Is hamachi yellowtail tuna?
It is.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
I don't think actually it's a tuna. It's called yellowtail tuna, but it's not a tuna.
Mhm.
That's it. This
It's
Junko's
delicious.
plate. She's got some porridge. This is probably some tofu. So show you again some fish. This is salmon eggs. And this is eggs. So we're going to go back 2 or 3 times, but this is how you do it. Most places you put the food directly in this little indentation. This place happened to have it in little dishes. And Japanese are big on nature. This is a sign at the check-in desk telling you when the sunset is.
Hmm.
So when they ask you when you want dinner, they ask you when you want it relative to sunset. So this is very Japanese to be connected with nature like this.
Interesting.
This is a little thing we came across. It's just on the route. Interesting seascapes. I've never seen this before. These are metal wind shutters. So these lift up when the wind blows too hard, and I think this is about their K cars, which I'll show you in a little bit.
Mhm.
If you go into a public place, like we went into a house of a famous author, Junko knew, and every time you go in any of these buildings, you take your shoes off. And in this case, it's a place that take lots of people, so they want you to carry your shoes around with a little white bag. This is the building built 100 years ago, and this is about the Yamon people, 3000 BC or so to 2000 BC. Dates are all different. This is one of their buildings reconstructed. They lived in pit buildings. This is a reconstruction of what had been the framework for a building. We don't know much about this, but we think the things are elevated off the ground because vermin is a big, insects a big problem storing food. This is a modern building for the museum.
Mhm.
This is what the thing looked like when they excavated. They found these holes in the ground with wood things in it. And this is what they think the buildings look like, and they reconstructed a whole bunch of them. So this kind of building was actually common. This kind of house was common in Japan 100 years ago. That continued. These are pit dwellings living partially underground because it's
Charlie, that also looks a lot like some of the early American Indian dwellings.
yeah, it's a kind of a teepee looking thing here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it looks like, of course, that's where they came from. So it's,
Yeah, right. There you
Yeah.
go.
yeah, interesting.
So the term jamon means cord. In Japanese, it was named by a British archaeologist who they found they made these pottery again 3,000 years ago with this corded clay and fired it and everything. And like most ancient peoples, they're very superstitious, and these are ritual objects. I find them fascinating to look at, that they surely prayed to for good harvest or whatever. Early arrowheads. This is a cross section of a waste dump. And so this is a real one. And so archaeologists go in here and dig out what's there. Or this concept of what life looked like. Junko and I believe this may have been one of the better times in human history. Doing this is 100 times easier than rice farming. You go out and shoot some animals or small animals, game are plentiful, they fished, and they had some small gardening. Again, these kind of religious objects, I just find them fascinating. An artifact of the past there. So we went into a ryokan. This is a very high-end ryokan. And the way I knew it was when we drove up, a guy ran out in a business suit and directed our car into a parking place. And we opened the trunk and went inside, and they had a tea ceremony for us, this lady. This is what tea from a tea ceremony looks like. It's called matcha. It's basically a thing goes back to the ancient times in Japan, 1600 maybe. And the beautiful lacquerware. This is dinner time, and and when you go into these places, you don't wear your clothes anymore. You typically leave your shoes at the front door. You don't wear them again. You don't. You go into your room, and this is called the yukata. It's got two pieces. I've got the more formal outerwear here just to look nicer at dinner. But there's a bathrobe under this. You can, but you don't typically wear your clothes again in this building as long as you're there. And a proper place has views outside of gardens. It always have this. So here's dinner starting. This is kind of a puree of I think squash. Everything is always whatever's in season at the moment, with dishes selected to match the season. This is the menu, and you read it top to bottom, right to left, and Junko would read the menu and we track through it following these steps. You can see it's 1 to a dozen courses or so. Again, this really important view outdoors. This is fish with black miso sauce. Junko makes this at home a lot. This is a sea snail, which is good. This is kind of, I'm not sure, this looks like some octopus and some vegetables, and maybe that's another piece of octopus. This is cooking. Often you'll cook something on your table, and the thing's been designed so they put a little burner in here that's timed to burn exactly the right time. And this is kind of a little bit of a fried fish and some enoki mushrooms and some daikon.
Charlie, what, can you please repeat it again? What kind of mushrooms are those?
Enoki.
Enoki? Okay.
Enoki. You can get them in the US grocery store.
Yeah, but they probably have different name.
Yeah, maybe. I think those are enoki. They're small, tasty.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is ginger, right? This was
Yeah,
pickled.
there's some ginger probably. This is where we're gonna cook our little piece of beef, and there's the beef. When I was there, I decided I didn't like this fatty beef. But now that I've gone back, I really like it. It melts in your mouth. This is kind of on the thin side. This is an onsen egg. So this has been 25 minutes in the same water that we take baths in. And so it's really quite different than a soft-boiled egg that's cooked more rapidly. There's the beef cooking with a little bit of squash and tomato. And there's a dessert, I believe. And that's you see the room's very similar. This is a higher end place. The bedding's thicker. We've got shoji screens to close off the, so as I mentioned before, you were interested in the room. This is very typical. This is our Japanese style table. And it always comes with, every room has a hot water and tea bags for making tea. Has a Western style place over here with a Western table and chairs, easy for the computer. And there's the hot water, and there's the thing with the teacups in it. And typical of all, very unadorned, one small picture, that's it. This one has a little safe here. And here's our bedding. This was put out while we were at dinner. So when they know you're at dinner, and while they come up and sort of silently do this, in the morning you just roll it up out of the way and they take care of it. So the onsen is the big deal. We did this twice a day. It takes an hour. I was dying to take photographs of this, but I couldn't. You're not allowed to. And Junko was afraid, even if I went with no people, you don't break rules in foreign countries very casually. But I snuck in, and this is where you enter. And they switch the men's and women's every day. So here's a baby crib over here. So you come in here, you take off your clothes. I take it back. You're wearing your yukata. You put your towel that you brought from your room and your room key in this little basket. And if you're wearing any underwear, you put it in here and put your yukata in here, go in through this door, and then you have a place you sit and wash. And I'll show you one of those later. Back to views of the place. This is breakfast now. It's always going to have a piece of cooked fish like this. Amores, where we are, is famous for apple juice. This was absolutely delicious. This is a skimono. This is a pickled cabbage kind of thing. This is a seaweed and vinegar. This is kind of a tofu thing. This is kind of a, I'm not sure, little vegetable. The pot's warming the gohan, the rice. This is a kind of an egg and with something to do with scallops. Again, the view is really important. Japanese love these kind of structures, these little houses. This is the entrance to the onsen, and it's typically got a red color for the women, blue for the men. And in the morning they switch it. I don't know why they switch it, except that they're a little different, trying to give everybody multiple experiences. It says public bath, but that doesn't mean open to the outside public. It means it's just open to everybody, all the hotel guests. This is the lobby of this hotel, and I can't, even though we are now leaving, I take a picture. This was fabulous. They had pictures of the prime minister of the country visited here, the emperor visited here. This cost us about $350 a night with the current exchange rate. Beautiful screens. This is probably 16th century. This is your traditional Japanese toilet. I don't see these much anymore, but they don't. The Japanese have the toilet in a separate room always, and there's no sink in here. So when you get done doing your thing, how do you wash your hands? Well, the water that fills the tank flows up through here, and you wash your hands. This is clean water, so the water that goes into the tank can be dirty with your hands. So everyone's got a washlet. This is the control panel over here. This is a typical older style thing. And every bathroom has separate slippers. You do not wear any slippers in this room except these. You don't wear these out of here. I think this goes back to the days when they had squat toilets and the floor might not have been too sanitary. So, and notice how they're facing. You back out of rooms here. You don't walk out straight because you need the slippers to be facing to walk back in. So it's kind of like a comedy show. You walk out of every room backward. The lobby again. The front of the hotel, see, it's kind of an elegant thing. They typically, a Japanese house or building will have a flower arrangement and a scroll at the front to welcome you. That's that one. We're drinking the onsen water here. This is the water coming directly off the mountain. Here's a little report that it's safe to drink. And it just drips out and you fill a cup and drink it. And this is what you get when you leave. I've been there where the whole hotel staff came out and bowed like this when you leave. Everybody, 20 people. So this is the case. That was the case where we're leaving as like a bunch of us together. He comes out and I think bows even more deeply than this when you leave out of respect. By the way, what the bowing is about is it's about submitting to letting someone chop your head off. So that's what you're saying. I'm defenseless to you. This is a two-way street in Japan. These are always kind of scary. But going along the road, I don't know what this is. And Junko explains that the east coast of northern Japan gets like 10 to 20 feet of snow a year. And this is the snowiest city on earth. And these are to show you where the center line and the road is when the snow piles up. The same thing in the center here, but it can be so much snow that you cover these up. So this is where the center line is for driving. Went to a art museum, a really interesting place. This very unusual art in a city called Todawa was kind of on the way. This was an impressive thing. This is done by an Australian. I spent a little time kind of meditating on this. And again, some really interesting art. Typical little carefully done tree. an ancient bell you could actually ring. I'm listening to a description in English of what's in the place.
Charlie, sorry, can you show that picture of the tree again?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
What's
These
the
are
name of
everywhere.
that tree?
I don't know, but this kind of thing is common, and even I'll show you later, even more finely sculpted trees. I love these trees too, Larissa. I'm with you.
Yeah,
It's a
thank
piece of
you.
art where you stick up your head and Junko. I wasn't anxious to climb up on the table. Frank, you can see the GX9 ubiquitous everywhere. This was a big giant thing built out of glass that turns out to be little human figures.
Hmm.
This guy actually moves. You see the hydraulic pistons?
Mm-hmm.
This is across the street. Casper. And one thing that kept striking me was how enveloped we are in green stuff. Living in Colorado, I'm not used to this at all. And now we're going to a World Heritage Site that is a gorge. I took a lot of pictures in here, probably too many. Just couldn't resist. The thing was just utterly compelling with the roaring of the water in front of you, noisy, beautiful, green. By the way, Frank, that's what you get when you use the time setting. You get this blurry of the water moving.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Just turn it to T and you can get that. Big rocks. This is a volcanic area.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it
Just
is
just
beautiful.
breathtaking.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's the time exposure again for camera fans.
Hmm.
We were mesmerized here, so much so we came, this is the lake that feeds it from the mountain glaciers. This is it coming down. And again, it's a World Heritage Site. How about this was kind of fun. In the US, I think they chopped that tree down.
It's gorgeous.
We just mesmerized in here.
Yeah, beautiful.
Do they have snakes in Japan?
Yeah, on Okinawa, we had the habu, which is a very poisonous snake.
Hmm.
They must have them on the mainland as well.
Yeah.
The big issue is bears. Their bears are small,
Hmm.
and the bears are attacking people. The bears are becoming more and more populous. So we stayed at a hotel here Junko didn't like. She was disappointed with. Had good ratings, but I think it's because of the food spread. And look at this one. This is pretty amazing, isn't it? This is dinner. And quickly, look at the variety of things to eat.
I'm getting hungry.
And
It's about lunchtime here.
this was interesting. This hotel was kind of a cheaper place, and it had a cabinet bath. When I was in Tokyo years ago, I went to the cheap businessman's hotel. They had these cabinet baths. It's a one-piece bath that they assemble, and it has everything in it. Here's your toilet here, and all in the same thing. Here's your sink over here. And just to show you how minimalist it is, to fill the tub, you take the sink lever and throw it over here. Here's breakfast in this place. Again, this is Japanese potato salad, which I kind of like. This is a piece of fish. This is, I'm not sure. These are various vegetable things. And look at the enveloping green. This is the lake that feeds it right near the hotel. We had a lakeside hotel, but wasn't much. And we're back in there and it rained that night, so the water's flowing more. This is a different place in here. It was pretty easy to stop on the side of the road. There weren't many people.
Could you back up to that big waterfall that you just?
Yeah,
That yeah, that. No, that looks like lace. You know, it's just an amazing picture.
yeah. Yeah, this was, we just happened on this. There was no
Yeah.
particular, I've got more of it later, I think, so I'm going,
Yeah, interesting.
just a incredibly captivating place.
Mhm.
We just couldn't stop taking pictures. This is,
Hmm.
I probably threw half of them away. This is interesting, the play of light here. By the way,
Mhm.
Frank, this is a case where I opened up the exposure to make it brighter.
Okay.
Turn the knob to begin there, same thing.
Mhm.
Most of the people were Japanese tourists. Just beautiful,
Mm.
the roaring water. This is a rice paddy underway. And the big worry in Japan is that the Japanese rice is special. And this field looks like it may have been left to go fallow because this is back-breaking work even with modern equipment. And the average farmer is over 60 and people aren't farming. I think these things are probably 2,000 years old. Once they go fallow, they're basically unusable. It's too much effort to get the weeds out of them. This is an interesting place. This is a Shinto shrine. The Buddha, there's Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines that is populated very unusually by a gigantic number of these seagulls. Usually seagulls only do this out in remote islands, but for whatever reason, they like this place. And they come here and roost and have babies.
Hmm.
These umbrellas are for the bird shit. We didn't realize this, but you can pick those up at the bottom and return them.
Mhm.
Two guys fighting. Chicks and an egg. This is your typical Shinto thing. By the way, people are using this. So here's what you do. This lady's in line. You come up here and you bow twice, then you ring this bell and you make your wish. You clap your hands in prayer, clap twice, bow twice, and Kami will take care of you. Look at the ornate woodwork on this. Junko and I do that. We go up and make our little wish. So you see here, it's 30,000 black-tailed gulls came here. Nice little beach. There's a trail you can walk along this for like, I don't know, hundreds of miles and camp along the way, campsites. We're more into cars and hotels. Junko likes to take pictures of the flowers. Seacoast just incredible. This is the Pacific Ocean now. Before we're in Sea of Japan. So we're in a city now. We're staying in a city hotel, and Junko found a place that only sells saba. We've never seen this before. Saba is Spanish mackerel. It's common in sushi, but it's normally served pickled. You always get a little appetizer to start with. That's just a common thing. This is fresh saba, very rare. This is the only thing this restaurant sells. So salmon's saba sashimi. This is donburi, a very common dish in Japan. But this is a bowl of rice with the fish on top. And here's some ginger to cleanse your palate. This was a set plate, came with some of this vinegarized seaweed, some little skimono, these vegetables over here. And here's a little sashimi in the back. These were delicious, needless to say. And this is a barbecued saba, same fish. Another sashimi plate, another sashimi plate. This was the bathtub in the Western style hotel. I thought it was interesting. The only does have thermostatic controls. It's got separate ones for the shower head and the tub. So you can rinse yourself at one temperature and be filling your tub at a different one. And the typical tub You fill it up to the top in a home. And when the first person gets in, they splash their full body mass onto the floor. But in this hotel, they don't want you doing that, so they got a thing here, just fill it to here. All floors, all bathrooms in Japan drain. This is the 2% drain that's common in bathroom floors down to a linear drain back here. But I think this one, if you dump the whole body work instantly, probably flow onto the room, and they don't want you doing that. The car park in Japan in a city is a building with no windows, a giant building. She's retrieving our car. She's got a little tag, and she's put it in the computer, and the thing finds the car in the garage and brings it down on an elevator.
This is like a dispenser, like you get a soda in a soda machine.
Exactly.
And nobody goes and gets it.
No, it's completely automatic. So, and I don't know how it does it because the car's in park. So somehow it has rollers up there, and it stores the car in a location. And then when you come, it only took about less than a minute to get our car back. So it goes up there, elevator brings it up, and brings your car back. This is the temporary housing for the tsunami, and here's the new seawall. This whole area, northwestern Japan, was hit hard by this. So that's their new seawall for protection, and that's where they put some temporary housing. Another road station. This one had fresh fish and quite an assortment, as you can see. And over here's flounders. This area was known for uni, and Junko and I are both uni lovers. So we don't usually eat lunch because we have a big breakfast and a big dinner, but we went to a restaurant and got some uni just because it's a specialty here. And that's a uni donbori dish. We both love this. This is kind of advanced sushi eating. A lot of people don't do this. But for us, this is like ultimate sushi. This is delicious. Seawalls they built. Look at the size of these things. And these water control gates. I mean, they spent a fortune on this.
It cost them a fortune by not having it.
That's right. Exactly.
So it's easy money to spend.
That's right. And here's a little national forest we went to. And again, the main thing is these views of the seacoast. Just stunning. And here's the forest. You can see how thick the forest is. And look at the size of this water control gate. My God, huh? Tunnels everywhere. This is very mountainous. In some cases, we drive, like I say, a 3-hour drive. I'm gonna say 30% of it's in a tunnel. The tunnels are often maybe 2 or 3 miles long. This is what they look like. Now we're in a really nice place. I sent a few of you the photo of this. About the same price point, but it's more elegant than that first one. Another place where the emperors come and so forth. And Junko did all the arrangements, so she splurged on this room with this better view. Larissa, here's our typical setup. Here's your shoji screens here. Here's your Western style place. Here's your Japanese style place. And here's the typical room, unadorned, but one simple picture. The views here are just mesmerizing. Larissa, that's what the bed looks like when it's put away. So I opened the closet and took a picture for you. But again, what would happen is while we're at dinner, they'll come up and put this out, and you can see there is kind of like a foam pad here.
Are these blankets silk or cotton?
Cotton.
Because it looks like
No, I think no silk. Cotton would be common. I just love being here. This is the entrance to the room. And so it always has this elevated platform, and your street shoes stay here. A lot of the ryokan, you take your street shoes off when you enter the building. This one, you wear them to the room. But here, when you leave the room, you normally wear these slippers. I don't like these things much on stairs. So I brought my own little house shoes. This is a separate door into the bathroom. The bathroom's a separate room, always. So you leave the main room we showed you and go into this little door to the bathroom. This is dinner. This is a little piece of sushi and a local thing. This is the highlight of the meal, the abalone. This is hotate, or in English it's scallop. There's squid, and you see how the dish is arranged artistically. I'm enjoying myself. We had a private room here, basically. There's the menu.
How did you get a picture of the camera?
Junko took it.
Oh, with a phone?
No, with her camera.
With her camera. Oh, you both have cameras.
Those are identical cameras.
I got you. That makes sense. All right.
I managed to take a little shot of our waitress that she saw. Sake. This is uni fresh. We love this. You eat it right out of the shell. That's sake, salmon, that's daikon, some little onions, little piece of beef. Tempura is big in Japan. It's done very, very well. That's there's uni again now in a little bowl.
What is uni again, Charlie? I missed that
It's
first time.
sea urchin, sea organs.
I got you.
And this is the end of the meal. The meal always ends with a soup and gohan and skimono. Skimono are these sort of salted fermented vegetables. I love them. So the reason is that now if you're still hungry, you can fill up on rice, soup, and you always eat the skimono at the end. Then little raspberry sherbet. And this is the bed in this place. You can see the pattern now, right?
Yeah.
This was breakfast, and they had these little buffet, had these little carts were kind of fun. You could put your tray on a cart and wheel it around rather than carrying it. This is Junko's cart, and she's got a kind of a donburi of seafood, and this is tamago egg. There's sake salmon, ikura salmon eggs. That's a piece of this cup is natto, and this is something that people either love or hate. I've learned to eat this. And Junko prepares it, but it's one of the healthiest foods on earth. I'll show you a picture of it later. This is, I think, her plate. Yeah, it's her plate. My plate. I've got more fish, and I love these salmon eggs. It's kind of like caviar. View out the dining room, of course, you have to have this nature view. I love these trees. These are just beautiful to me. That's this is the national dish of Japan. This is their sandwich. Convenience stores have these everywhere. It's a piece of they put something in the middle of a ball of rice and roll it up in seaweed. And Junko loves these. There's another windscreen. Look at the size of that thing. Junko likes to take pictures of manhole covers.
Yeah, I like those nuri sandwiches with the rice inside. It's very delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, onigiri it's called. O in Japanese means honorific. And if you go into a convenience store, there'll be 50 choices of these, and everybody just eats these like mad. Went to a town called Tono. I didn't know a lot about, but I had researched it, and it's a very interesting town. It used to be a major center sort of in central Japan, and it had a museum that was highly recommended that was actually quite wonderful. And this is a little, it's not uncommon to have a little poem associated with a place. This is ancient stuff. These are stone tools, go back maybe 30, 40,000 years. A samurai thing. Typically, the samurai have some kind of a distinguishing thing. This is actually for a lord would have this on his helmet, who he is. And they put something on here to try and make it look scary. This might have been a ceremonial thing. This is how people live. These are gaita. We had these in Okinawa. It's so muddy, you wear these to walk through the mud. There's a TV screen depicting life in those days that actually photographed pretty well. A little story here about the market. Very famous for horses, very beautiful horses. They exported a lot of these around the country.
And the horse has sandals on. I love it.
Yeah, that's his horseshoes. And these are typical things like Shinto, wishing for good health for the horse. You see all these things. Each horse has one, so you go up and make a little prayer for the horse. These are these dolls that are superstitious. They have tons of these everywhere. And these are henna dolls, kind of a festival thing. And this is kind of life. The masks, they have festivals over and over. They're huge. And this is a unique house to this area where this is a stable. So the people live with the animals. The horses were here and the family was here. Kind of tools of this is a calendar. This goes through the year as to what you're going to be eating, what you're going to be doing, the rituals you're going to do year round. So they follow this, and you can see the foods changing as they go around the year.
Mhm.
This was a meal here. Again, sort of typical. There's our fish. This is beans, tofu, gohan. I'm sorry, this is a meal in the museum. This is a meal of 200 years ago. That's not our
Okay.
meal.
Mhm.
A loom, life, and this is 100 years ago. This is not 1,000 years ago. Festivals, I mean, they really go all out on these things. These are huge, multiple times per year. Floats and costumes. This is a garb of a person would wear to go into the woods. They were afraid of the woods and what was in the woods. This was supposed to give them protection from the spirits in the woods. Woodworking tools, pottery, chest. These animals are used at the entrance of the village and at your home to scare away the bad spirits.
There's a bad spirit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there we go.
This is interesting.
Oh, look.
There's this mythical animal. So this place is big in folklore. And there's a story that they all buy into. This mythical animal lives in the water and comes out and wreaks havoc. And this is a little museum where they've got this guy at the front door, and you can fish for him, try and bait him. Here's a wanted poster for this animal. You get a reward if you can find it. And this opened it just opened in 1984, this garden. This is the layout of this ancient village.
That's-
This building was built in the 1700s. It's original. 1750. And everything's in here as it was in 1750. Here you can see the spirits being planted to keep the spirits away. This is sort of typical of interior. You have an Enron, it's called. You have a fire burning here, and there's a little hole in the roof, and this cooks on this little stove you hang over this and gives you heat for heating. Also, you can put a blanket over this and make a kotatsu, put your legs down in here if it's really cold. This is a fable they all believe about a beautiful young farmer's daughter who fell in love with a horse, and the farmer didn't like it, so he beheaded the horse, and she put a curse on them. These are all dolls about that. You see the little horse heads on the dolls. So people have these in their homes everywhere to ward off the evil spirit of this revenge of this horse. 1,000 figures. This is silk place where the silkworms are done, big silk business. This is heating hot water. You see the place down here where you put the wood, then up here you take the water out. This is a toilet, and you had a rope to grab onto, and you did your business in here, and you wipe your rear end with a stick, and you put the dirty sticks in here.
Well, that's not unlike the way it was in some rural areas where instead of a stick, you used the cob of a corn.
Okay, same thing. Yeah.
And yeah, that's sort of an outdoor toilet, no
Yeah.
running water.
It's a water tank, and it's a bath, actually. This is a bath being fed by this spring. And you see they had a more modern pump to pump the well water out. So you want to take a bath, you come out and pump it in here, and you put the coals in the bottom, heat the water. This is the building, had a water wheel running here. And there's a slide about that mythical animal, the kappa. And this is Abate Prefecture, and there's a thing of the kappa again. So now we're into Kinosuma, another place, going to the tourist center here. And we had sake at dinner. And this is a common thing you see in Japan. The wooden box is the ancient way of drinking sake. So in modern life, they fill up this and overflow it into the box. So the question is, how the hell do you drink this? So the answer is you sort of pick this up and sip off the top. And once you've got that down, you put it back down, pick up the wooden box and pour it in the glass. You can drink directly out of the wooden box, but I find it makes kind of a mess. We're actually in a sushi restaurant now. This place, you order on a screen and the thing came out on a conveyor belt with your table number and you grabbed it off. This is whale sushi, which I didn't initially like, but it's actually pretty good. This is ikra, squid. This is one of my favorites, this specially treated little sardines. The way this works is they come out with a little gadget and they point at your dish stack and it analyzes the color and number of your dishes and makes your bill. So all the waitress does is come out when you're through and take a little ding and your bill gets printed. Now we're in a place for dinner, I think here. This is a K truck. So Junko loves these trucks. You can't buy them in the US because they're not safe. But they have special, all these K cars and K trucks are very narrow. And they have these orange license plates. This is a gorge where they still pull the boats with a big long pole up and down. We got there kind of late and didn't take the boat ride. We had to wait 45 minutes and decided to move on. This is what it looks like in the car with the GPS. This is Junko putting in a destination. So you can see how complicated this is compared to doing it in English. By the way, they use phone numbers more often. If you know, it's much easier to put in a phone number than this to go somewhere. This is a World Heritage Center with 5 World Heritage sites in it. Quite unusual up in this city, Zomu. And we only saw 2 of them. We just they're rather similar. This is a museum. This is showing me these sticks again and how you're doing it to clean your rear end. This is the trade routes of the time. This is a meal in the year 1600. That looks awful like what we eat today, doesn't it? Real sticks. The buildings. This Chosun temple is very, very famous. Again, you see the dates around this, 1124. We're now walking, it's raining a bit. This is a comment that put this bib and hat on a Buddhist statue. Over on the side of the road, you'll see these. Walked up this long stairwell, again, just flabbergasted with the growth of the trees. There's a little temple. The main attraction, how about this tree, Larissa? So the main temple did not allow photographs inside, so I, of course, couldn't take any.
Sorry, I didn't realize I'm on mute. Thank you,
Okay.
Charlie. It's beautiful.
This is kind of a little view of what it's like, but it was startling. I wasn't allowed to take photographs, but it was like things I've never seen. This is a bell dates back to 1300. Actually, I'm not at the main attraction yet. We're still getting there. This was a case where we're not allowed to take pictures and didn't know it, so we snapped one really quickly. This is the Golden Temple. This is a whole plane gilded in gold. In reality, it's just mind-blowing. And the interior had these giant Buddhas. I have to admit, I was impressed. These towered over you, and they're gold leaf on them, but you couldn't take photos. This is the building that holds the Golden Temple. This is a mausoleum. This is one of the daimyo over here. I was struck with the tree root complexity here. Look at this. This has got to be an ancient tree. We went on to another place, so I couldn't take pictures inside. This is a sort of a park with another big shrine in it. Beautiful things. This is rebuilt. This is what typically is inside something like this. Beautiful park. Of course, this is laid out according to principles of Shinto. There's a case, Frank, where I took the picture and I opened up the aperture a little more. Just turned on the front of my camera,
Uh-huh,
improved it. I think it's better than the original exposure.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Charlie, I just want to excuse myself. Got to run to be in time
Yeah, I think I
for
probably should wrap up
visiting.
now anyway, so, I
Okay.
think Marissa's and Frank got things to do. I'll stop here.
Well, I'm going to get some sushi for lunch. I've got a plan now. I didn't have one before. but-
That's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. I will post this on and thanks for letting me run over. Frank,
Excellent.
doing this.
No
Thanks.
problem.
Hope you
Always
found this
enjoy.
Thanks,
enjoyable
guys.
as I did
Absolutely
showing.
beautiful.
But thank you all. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Charlie.